Good afternoon everyone, how are you? Welcome back to my garden. Today I have some maintenance to do, some final things to prepare my garden for winter, a little bit of a cleanup, and actually we had a crazy storm a couple of days ago with wind gusts up to 110 kilometers per hour. Luckily no major damage except for a few broken dahlias, but it blew a ton of leaves and there are so many of them that I figured it would be nice to make leaf mold. Leaf mold is a great source of organic matter for your plants. You can mix it with your potting mix, you can add it on top of your potting mix as as a layer of mulch. So that's what we are gonna do in today's video. So let's go. First, let's grab a cup of warm coffee because it's actually getting really cold. You guys, we had temperature drop to -6 degrees Celsius in November in my zone 8. That's not really something we are used to. So a cup of warm coffee will be nice while I'm gardening. Alright, so let's start in the back corner here because there's a lot of perennial plants here that are either already dormant or are just starting to go dormant, and I wanted to show you something interesting. Here are my two hostas. Hosta Royal up here and lower here, I think this one is called Wearly Pop or Wearly Wig, forgot. But these two, as you can see, they start to go dormant and the leaves just start to turn brown and wilt and look super unattractive. But Hosta Halcyon, look at this beauty. So it starts to turn slightly yellow, like from the edges. As you can see, there's still a little bit of that blue color left. So the edges start to turn yellow and then the whole plant becomes this beautiful orange color, and it's gonna stay like this. It's not gonna wilt like this one. I mean, eventually it will, but it stays beautiful for a really long time. I really love it about this plant. Provides such a beautiful pop of color in the fall. So usually when they are fully dormant, you don't even have to cut anything. The leaves, see, just come out on their own. And I know that's something that a lot of beginner gardeners are confused about. You know, when you see your plants looking like this in the fall, you may think that it's dead and it's just simply dormant. So it's really important to, Google your plants, check if they are perennial, check if they are hardy in your growing zone, because it would be a shame to get rid of perfectly healthy, beautiful perennial plants not knowing that they can actually survive winter in your climate. So I know that it gets a little bit tricky for container gardens because like for example here we have hostas. Hostas can be grown in zones 4 through 9. So that means that the coldest winters this plant can survive outside are in zone 4. And then there's that upper limit, that's zone 9. It means that in climates above zone 9, winters are just not cold enough because these plants actually need a cold dormancy period over winter to rest and then to come back again next year. So in the garden, this plant could be planted in zone 4 through 9. But with container gardens, the tricky part is that, we grow plants in pots. So the root ball is above the soil level. There is no soil surrounding it that can isolate it and can protect it from the frost. The root ball is exposed and it's more vulnerable to frost damage. So if you're new to container gardening and you need a little bit more information and a little bit more guidance on how to prepare your garden for winter, how to help your plants survive winter, I have a specific video dedicated to this topic, a guide, 10 step-by-step ideas on how you can overwinter your potted plants with a lot of practical information and solutions on how to protect your plants from frost. So I'll have it linked in the description and it will show up here in the card. You can check that out. So now let's get those hostas cut back because I'm talking but I'm not doing anything actually. Here we are also gonna cut back this fern. I have some evergreen ferns, but this one is deciduous. Alright, so let's get all of those leaves packed. Don't like to do it when the plant still looks pretty, but so I'm just cutting at the base here with my kitchen scissors because both of my pruners broke. So I'm just gonna leave it like this, and after it starts to kind of rot and it disappears eventually, just try to cut it the lowest you can. I also have this podophyllum in here. It's still green, but as you can see, the leaves are already flopped, and I'm gonna cut it back. Ideally, you will wait for those leaves to turn yellow and, you know, to die down naturally on their own, but as I said, I don't want to be coming back here every single week and cut back one plant by one, so I'm just gonna do everything today. Alright, so in this corner here, everything is cut back, except for little tiarella. For me, tiarellas are evergreen, and hellebore. Hellebore is also evergreen and it actually blooms in winter. So now I just need to sweep the floor. So in this corner I have 5 beautiful evergreen plants. First I have this hellebore I just showed you a moment ago. Hellebore niger that has beautiful white flowers. We might actually be able to see some flower buds already. Yes, there are a couple of flower buds starting to form. It will bloom beautifully all throughout winter, all the way until spring. Then we have a beautiful ornamental grass, variegated ornamental grass, Carex Evergold. If I remember well, it's hardy down to zone 6. Then we have euonymus. This one is very winter hardy, zone 3 or 4. Beautiful variegated leaves, euonymus harlequin. And as you can see, cold temperatures make the leaves take on that beautiful pink tinge. Then we have Polysticum polyblepharum, evergreen fern. It suffered a little bit during summer, so it's now starting to grow back a little, but it's a beautiful evergreen fern, hardy down to zone 6, and very winter hardy Heuchera silver gumdrop, hardy down to zone 4, beautiful evergreen foliage. It blooms early summer. So just a couple of plants and it already makes the garden look a little less empty and a little bit more attractive. And one thing that I also like to do is I like to top dress those empty containers with pine cones or with some sort of mulch, so that they don't look just like bare containers just with soil in them. All right, look how many leaves I collected just from this corner. That's insane. And we still have this whole balcony to clean up, so let's do it really quickly. Okay, moving on, let's talk about this area here. We have a couple of evergreen plants on the floor. Carex flagellifera, hardy down to zone 5. Love this texture, even though it looks like dead grass. And in the center, we have yet another Heuchera. Heucheras are one of my favorite plants, and definitely one of my favorite evergreen plants. Hardy down to zone 4. Don't know the name of this one, it came without a plant tag. But above we have 3 dahlias. I intend to keep these 2. This one I'll be giving away. They are, as you can see, damaged by that recent wind. And the thing is, dahlias can take some frost, and I think I'm gonna keep them in containers. I'm just gonna cut them back because I have literally no storage possibilities in my apartment, and I'm already keeping a ton of stuff like supplies and accessories and begonia tubers and caladium tubers and all that, so I have no place to store anything more. And I think they can make it. I've overwintered begonia tubers outside and they did just fine, so I'm thinking they can handle light frost in containers. So we'll see how that goes. Goodness, how many earthworms! I'm gonna place them all in that bag full of leaves. They will help with the decomposition. This is a slag though. This doesn't go in the decomposition. All right, done. Let's keep moving, you guys. Look at the amount of leaves over there. It's never ending. So the thing is that these two blueberries still have plenty of leaves on them, and the hydrangea is still full, and all of these plants are still gonna drop all of those leaves on the floor in here. So goodness, it looks much better now. Okay, so just before we start with the leaf mold, let's finish with the winter maintenance. And I want to talk about one product. Those of you who have been following me for a while for sure recognize it, but those of you who are new to the channel or new to gardening, I swear by this product. This is Power Roots by Playground, and it's not like your regular fertilizer, because obviously at this time of year we don't want to fertilize our plants, because what fertilizing does, it promotes healthy new fresh growth, and we don't want to promote healthy growth, new fresh growth, because that new fresh growth will be very susceptible to frost damage. This, on the other hand, is more of an additive or a booster, if you will, and it contains potassium and vitamins. And potassium is an incredible mineral that helps your plants with a ton of different things. It makes your plant more resistant to pest and disease attacks. It helps to promote new root growth. It's really important during the fruiting and flowering phase, but it also makes your plant more resistant to frost, because it lowers the freezing point in your plant's vascular system, in your plant cells. So they will be less likely to freeze, less likely to suffer frost damage. And as I said, I swear by this product. I've been using this for years, and I successfully overwintered sonal geraniums in my garden. And as I said, the temperature drops to -8 degrees Celsius, and my geraniums survived without any other protection at all. What I'm saying is, this is not like a magical solution that will make your plant immune to frost, but if you apply this regularly, especially in the fall, I start fertilizing my plants with this already late summer. It's not too late yet. You can still buy it and you can still apply it. It's still gonna work. But over time, plants can develop more resistant than they naturally have. So if that's something you would like to try, highly recommend this. I've been using this for years, and I don't intend on ever stopping, because this is a game changer for me. And you only need 1 milliliter of Power Roots per 1 liter of water. So this bottle, with the amount of plants that I grow outdoors and indoors, this lasts me for a year, over a year, to be honest. And I oftentimes even bring it with me when I go to other people's balconies and fertilize other people's plants with this. So you really don't need a lot, and it makes a huge difference. So what I water with this is all of my evergreen plants and all of the plants that are borderline hardy in my zone. Like, for example, this bay laurel, it's hardy down to zone 8. I garden in zone 8, so technically, it doesn't necessarily survive in my climate, but with a proper care and with obviously several years of training it to adapt to lower and lower temperatures, this plant can now overwinter outside without any protection. But obviously, as I said, I still feed it with this potassium fertilizer to boost its resistance. Alright, so the last thing we are going to do today is we are going to make a leaf mold. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is a great source of organic matter. Leaf mold is basically leaf compost. You want the leaves to decompose, to create a beautiful, as we say, black gold. This will be great for your plants. You can mix it with a potting mix. As it slowly decomposes further, it releases nutrients back into the potting soil. It's great for the soil life, for all of those beneficial bacteria and fungi that help your plant thrive and absorb minerals from the soil. It creates a really lovely texture, prevents the soil from compacting. It's great at holding moisture. So many great benefits. You can use it on top of soil as a layer of mulch. So how to create a leaf mold? Grab yourself a black plastic bag, collect all the leaves from your balcony. If your balcony is small or if you don't have a lot of leaves, you don't have to necessarily collect it all at once. Oftentimes I keep the bag open and I just add and add. And at the end of the season, when I collected enough and when there's no more leaves to be collected from the garden, and you want to poke a few holes in the bag, because we want the oxygen to be able to reach the compost. If your leaves are particularly dry, like mine, it's a good idea to water it. You don't want it to be soaking wet, you want it to be just moist, just like with compost. We don't want compost to be completely wet, but we don't want it to be completely dry either. We need a little bit of moisture to help with decomposition. So you can add pretty much any leaves from your container garden. You can add leaves of deciduous trees and shrubs. You can add leaves of your herbaceous perennials. The only leaves that you want to avoid are evergreen leaves and those of conifers, because they don't tend to decompose as quickly. Now we're just gonna close it, and it should take about, well, 6 to 12 months. I know that sounds like a long time, but honestly you can just, put it out of sight somewhere in the corner, and by the time that you're gardening actively again in the spring, this would reduce in size. Honestly, at the end it will be like 1/3 of the bag worth of leaf mold. Just open it from time to time, check the moisture level. If it looks dry, just add a little bit of water. You don't want it to be soaking wet, you want it just to be kind of moist, slightly moist. Give it a good shake and then close it again, and by this time next year you will have a beautiful leaf mold to use for your plants in your container garden. Alright, so the garden is clean and ready for winter. It just misses some holiday decor that I'm gonna be probably adding in the next video. But yeah, thanks so much for joining me today. Hope you have a beautiful day, and we will see each other again next Saturday.